Hey there everyone, Kay here on my homestead in Tennessee. Well, I wanted to give you a quick update about my knee. If you missed my last video, I hope you'll watch it right up there. And I discussed not only falling, I had literally fallen. Not even an hour, wasn't even an hour. And I came in here and sat down and made that video. So I hadn't even, spent time icing and assessing and all of that. I kind of hobbled in here and did that because I'd already planned to do it. And you know me, got to get it done. So I wanted to get that word out there. I know other channels had done it, but YouTube's new policy of restricting, banning, taking down content that talks about anything that is not approved by the CDC or the WHO. So I wanted to get you that information right away, as well as tell you that I just got hurt. And so the person that was recommended by my friends, he travels around, orthopedic guy, travels around different offices, so he was in a closer office on Tuesday. So I didn't get in until Tuesday, but as soon as he walks in, he goes, "Your kneecap is broken." I said, "Broken? Broken? I mean, I've only had one broken bone in my body, and if I have strong bones, and if you get to this point in life and you've only had one broken bone, I consider myself lucky." And the only other bone was when I got knocked down by a ski lift chair on Christmas Eve of 2017, and my arm went straight up and it broke right there. It's called a comminuted fracture, and you can't even put it in a cast. So it was in a sling. It was excruciating, and I didn't want to take any opioids, so I just suffered through that for months. By my birthday on Valentine's, I could touch my nose. I couldn't eat. I had to learn how to edit with my left hand. So that was much more challenging, and I was completely dependent upon help. So this is not as bad, but he said it takes 4 months for the bones to knit. Well, I am planning on having that. I am saying right here that by Halloween, that bone is going to be healed. Now, I don't know how we can know for sure without more invasive tests like, x-rays and things, but we'll see. That's my plan, because comfrey is the miracle plant that God gave us to knit bones back together. In fact, it was used so much for that, that became its nickname, called knit bone. Some people say bone knit. So that's what I used for my shoulder. I did poultices. I had comfrey growing in the front yard, and I did poultices. It was so messy on the shoulder, though, trying to get this drippy thing, wrapped in plastic, and the green juice was everywhere. So I did one, which I posted on my community page. Many of you saw it. I posted that on the day after, and but I have very little comfrey. Hopefully Daryl can bring me some from his garden. I gave him some plants. He grew it out, and he's got a lot more leaves than I do because I left mine in the pot. I never got it planted in the garden. One of the many things I never got to this year. So my plan is to stay off it as much as possible. You saw the brace in the opening shot. So this is a typical brace that keeps you from bending too far. And I'm trying not to bend at all, because that's really the only time it hurts. And if you're standing for a while, it just starts to ache. But the only time you get sharp pain is when you bend the knee. And it's like that ligament or that sheath of muscle or whatever, that tissue running over the kneecap, touching that broken spot. That's painful. So I'm using comfrey salve healing balm made by Sharon at Sharon's Natural Gardens, which has comfrey root in it. And I have ordered, other people have recommended arnica pellets, sublingual pellets, and so I ordered those. They should be here today. And of course arnica and DMSO, which is no longer the government tried to shut the benefits, shut DMSO down, and so that's I mean, I had a basketball coach he was a coach for 40 years, and he said that's all we used. He said a kid would come off the court with a sprained ankle and he'd be back on the court the next game. And so, of course, those people are young, and I'm not exactly, 17, but I am hoping that between all of these things, these healing herbs and plants, that I can heal it. And people have recommended willow for pain, willow cream for pain. I have to get some of that. Haven't had that, but I really haven't had that much pain, and I'm just taking aspirin. He did mention something interesting which I wanted to pass along. I did take ibuprofen generic the first 24 hours. I think I had about 5 of them over the course of the Sunday and Monday morning. Then I just went to aspirin. I don't think I took any yesterday. Somebody recommended the RICE method: rest, ice, compression, and elevate. That's a great thing, acronym to keep in your mind. RICE: rest, ice, compression, elevate. And I want to thank the person that mentioned that. And I've been doing all 4 of those for sure. And I have had the most amazing help by neighbors. My one neighbor brought me crutches like the first 3 hours after he brought me his crutches. And then my neighbor Natalie with the 2 little girls, she's juggling to come and help me, but she helped me on Sunday and on Monday, and on Tuesday she went to work at the school, and then she came over just in the evening to lock everything up and get the cats in and all of that. So I'm hoping she can come back over today. This is Thursday. She was not here yesterday, but my friend Terry heard about this and she offered to come over, and she was amazing. She worked in my kitchen for like 5 hours, and it's just like, whose kitchen is this? It looks kind of like it does when I do videos, all cleaned up, but even more so because she put a lot of stuff away. Well, there's no place to put it away. It's just I need more space to put stuff. When you're prepping, you have to have space for everything. And to put it away so it's not everything is just piled to the ceiling all around you. It's oppressive and it's hard to function. And so she really helped with that a lot, and I'm very, very grateful for the help. And then Gina, who's a major late bloomer fan, who wears my t-shirt in town where she lives in North Carolina and everything, she offered yesterday to come for the weekend. But I'm hoping Natalie can come this morning because I need to make meatloaf and tomato jam, because I got tomatoes that need to be processed, and so there's a lot to do, and I just wanted to catch you up a little bit. I had to scream at my camera for a second. It's not my camera's fault. It's just my fault because I am not technical. And somehow I've managed to have a YouTube channel for 12 years without embracing technology or being very good at it. And the light is changing very drastically over here, so I had to make an adjustment. Anyway, I was just saying that I hope you're paying attention to what's going on. Like I was saying in my last video, because things could get very dicey, especially in September, because historically, this has nothing to do with the people, it's just, these are the facts. Historically, during the high holy days, the Jewish high holy days, there have been a lot of turmoil, major fluctuations in financial markets. And when I look back over my IRA of a year, the very lowest day of the entire last year was September 27th, which was the last day of Rosh Hashanah. So we've got that coming up. Rosh Hashanah begins on sundown, September 15th, I believe, and it's for the 10 days. And then Yom Kippur. So be mindful of your money and be prepared as best you can for whatever comes down, because I don't know if you saw it, but yesterday Tucker Carlson did a video on Blaze Media. I just saw a couple of clips, but you know, even I was kind of, whoa. Even I, meaning, you know, I try to keep track of what's going on in the world, and he was saying that we could wind up, because the people that are in power right now want to stay that way, they're going to do anything to stay in power. In order to stay in power, that we could find ourselves at war with Russia, which is just crazy. There's no reason why we should be at war with Russia. So that would change all of our lives, because you're talking about the two powers that have the most nuclear weapons, and so we got to hope that doesn't happen. We got to hope that a good sense prevails. And wow, can you even still see me? Yeah, I guess you can. The light dropped again. So I just, I want to sign off. I could talk all day about this stuff. But God bless you, and thank you so much for your good wishes about my knee. And I haven't really thought beyond just getting through each day so far. How am I going to get everything done today and tomorrow? And so I haven't really thought next week or next month or anything. So one day at a time, one step at a time. God bless you, and I'll see you in the next video.